How y'all doing? I'm Paul Ryan, your host of the Across the Cowboys podcast. If you're new to the show, thank you for joining us. And to our regular listeners, welcome back. With me, as always, is my co-host, the greatest co-host in the world, Mike The Pig Crum. Mike, how are you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. No Cowboys. Got to go in and watch the rival play in a Super Bowl, and having to hear a lot of Jerry talk and a lot of draft stuff comes up, and it can be you got to be watch out. It can be pretty toxic out there. Like I was up with low blood sugar at like 3 in the morning, and the East Coast, the Texas and the East Coast guys were up talking, and I talked with them for a little bit. Then I ended up falling asleep for a couple hours, and I woke back up. And when I went to bed, I thought everybody was done arguing and talking about something, and it just kept going. So I looked over and was like, I don't need to add anything. Then I went to work and worked a 6-7 hour shift.
Yeah.
Went back, looked, and it was still going. I was like,
oh Lord.
Yeah. So it's it included our guy Jeff Kavanaugh and our guy Stevie, and they're on one side of it with it's about drafting running back, first round by Jean or
Bijan.
yeah. And so I'm not really for drafting any running back in the first round. I just don't think if you cannot give the guy a second contract, or it's a bad idea to give him a second contract, I'm like, I don't want you in the first round. And they're saying at that point in the first round, they would be worth it because he's such a high overall player.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, it's just, it's only a few picks different. Like if I told them we want to take him in the top 20, they'd be like, no, and for me, they're good, like 25, 26, they're good taking a running back. And me, I want to wait till the second round to get one. So we both have the same principle. It's just, when does your principle on running backs end? Theirs a little bit earlier than mine.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting offseason discussion, Mike, because you look at it, I mean, Pollard, what kind of money is he going to be asking for, him and his agent, after the year that he had? Zeke, they talk about wanting to bring him back, but and he said he'll take a pay cut, but essentially, what kind of money do you want to offer him, and do you even really want to bring him back? Of course, it'd be nice to see him retire as a Cowboy, but does it make sense for where this team currently is? And when you look at the running back class, I mean, you could essentially replace both Pollard and Zeke for at least half the price.
Yeah, it's a tough discussion on because I wouldn't bring Zeke back for anything. I think he's a negative player at this point. I love him, but it just is what it is. His last 50 carries, he got 100 yards. Like 2 yards a carry is not going to do it.
Yeah.
And I think Tony Pollard, I'm not re-signing long-term any running back, but I'd like to tag him kind of like we did with Schultz as security to make sure we have a second playmaker to go with Lamb. So I wouldn't consider it as a tag of a running back, but as a tag of a playmaker, which is what a lot of people say about Bijan. But I can't use a first. I think the value of a tag for 1 year is different than giving up somebody that's a fifth-year option, and then you ideally for a first-round pick want to get a second contract out of them, and I can't see that out of a running back being good value. I went back to 2010, went through every running back that was taken in the first round, and maybe Christian McCaffrey. But even him, after he got his second contract, got injured. He was consistently injured. Twice. He had a good year this year, but
yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I can kind of see both sides, because Bijan, I mean, you add him to, let's say we do lose Pollard, but then we add Bijan, younger, fresher, for 5 years. You get that playmaker, and again, at probably half the price when you consider where we're picking at pick 26. But it's again, it'll be an interesting discussion during the offseason. Probably get watered down after a while.
Yeah, it's funny. It'll get talked about, and then that running back will be picked like 16th overall, like way before we even, and then it'll be like, well, we waste our time talking about that.
Exactly. Yeah, that's usually how it goes, isn't it?
Yeah, for real. That's almost always how it goes. I think Parsons was the one time that it didn't go like that.
Yeah, it is. Mike, it's a bittersweet week because it's the last week of football. I mean, can you imagine the last game of the year and our rivals win Super Bowl and we have to deal with Philly's Twitter all year until week one?
There's a one word about that later on, and so I'll save my thoughts for when we get to there.
Yes, sir. All right, Mike. Before we get into our discussion tonight, let the people know where they can find you on Twitter.
At CD Piglet, guys, nice and easy.
Guys, I'm Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. Well, Mike, we're going to be talking a little bit about the Super Bowl. We're going to be talking about some recent Cowboys news. But before we do any of that, we have to start off with one thing and one thing only. Of course, I'm referring to Meatless Monday. Mike, I know you've kind of had a bit of a stressful day. I hope you ate something good today. Talk to us. What was on the menu today?
Yeah, like I said, before the show, I was talking about how I was cooking all weekend. I had made I'd say about 30 breakfast burritos.
Yeah.
And so cheese, eggs, hash browns, sausage, and bacon. Well, I had the last little bit of eggs and tater tots. I made some Beyond sausage in the morning, and I had that because I didn't eat a burrito when I made them. I make them and I freeze them.
Yeah.
And when I need one, I can have it. But so I did that, and then for dinner I did these at Trader Joe's. I got some black bean and cheese taquitos, and I put them in the convection oven and had some guacamole and sour cream with them.
I have never stepped foot inside of Trader Joe's, but I heard their snacks are so good.
They have some, dude. The thing about them is you can go there and get stuff that you just don't find. I went there and I got harissa paste. I got Calabrian chilies. I got yuzu.
Oh,
I
wow.
got yeah, they have like crazy stuff. I got fig butter. It's all stuff that I use in certain things that I run out of it, and then I have to wait till I can get to Trader Joe's to use it. So, I love going there, and I was going to meet somebody at Heirloom, and I'm the only person in the world that would do that. I went to the Trader Joe's beforehand, and then had the groceries with me when I met the person at Heirloom. Only guy who brings a bag of groceries to a date. Whatever.
Oh, Mike had a date. Wow.
Yeah, it was fun. Good stuff.
Yeah, we'll have to talk more about that offline, Mike.
Yeah, for sure. For sure we will. Yes, she was too young for me still.
Okay. I got you. I hear about the thing about Trader Joe's is they have like original snacks, good snacks, but you have to open up the wallet.
Oh yeah, it's expensive, but like it's just stuff you can't, dude. The Calabrian chilies are like they're magic, and you just can't. They're just not. It's like right now, I got gochujang when I was there, but you can get gochujang now at Save Mart. Like it's came around,
Yeah.
Calabrian chilies haven't gotten there yet. So like you have to go to I don't even think Sprouts has it. Like it's a pain in the ass to find, and I use it all the time. I love to top like pizza with it. I don't even care if I order pizza. Order it in somewhere, take it in, and top it with Calabrian chili, or like I got hot honey oil there.
Yeah.
It's a really good store. It is expensive. It's like a Whole Foods, but they have some unique stuff. So I load up.
Dude, pepperoni and hot honey pizza is elite.
Bro, so put Calabrian chilies on that pizza.
Sounds delicious. All right, Mike, let's talk some football here before we lose all the listeners. Looking at this matchup, man, but two number one seeds going head-to-head. Was Philly, Kansas City the best matchup when you look at the four teams that made it to the championship round?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, I would have liked to see Niners with their quarterback. I think Niners might have been a better team. They averaged 35 points a game with Purdy, and their defense is elite. And they were really winning with the backup after Purdy went out. If you take away the Devontae Smith, bad, it wasn't actually a catch, they would have been up 7-0 minimum. So I don't like to see that. But if you look at it, Eagles have probably the best roster overall in football. And Kansas City has Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. So For me, yeah, I'd say it probably was the best matchup.
I wonder, man, if let's say Purdy doesn't get hurt, San Francisco advances to the Super Bowl. Man, with their roster on offense, I feel like they might be the favorite in this matchup over Kansas City.
I think they would be. If you look at how much, points they put up per game
Yeah.
and how open they're like, the Niners have beat some teams that neither guy in the NFC faced a lot of good teams. But
Hmm.
the Niners beat Dallas. Dallas had a good defense at Dak. Their guys were healthy most of the game. So, they beat us. I don't know if either team would have beat Patrick Mahomes, but I know that the Niners would probably have been favored with Brock Purdy winning what? That would have been 13 straight, averaging all those points and everything. You'd have to
Yeah.
imagine that they would be favored.
It's an interesting matchup, Mike, because you mentioned Philly with the loaded roster, and then you've got the head coach combo of Andy Reid and Mahomes, who have been there. This is now going to be their third time together in the Super Bowl. When you look at that matchup, the kind of the loaded roster versus the experience of the head coach and quarterback, who do you favor when you view it that way?
I would go head coach quarterback for me. Like you said perfectly the experience.
Yeah.
And then also Andy Reid's so good off a bye, like getting that extra week. He's like the best, maybe of all time, coming off that bye.
Right.
And then Patrick Mahomes, when you have a guy that good, Eagles defense is good, but I've seen Dak shred the Eagles defense,
Yeah.
and I look down at the quarterbacks they've faced, not great ones. And the one that was pretty good went 24 for 24 versus their zone coverage, and like kind of beat them up, kind of shredded them. And so I just feel like if Kansas City has the top pass rush win rate
Hmm.
as offensive line, Eagles have the top defensive pass rush win rate. And so if Kansas City can kind of counteract that, Mahomes, the way he's able to get away and run, and I don't like the matchup with Kelsey against the safeties and linebackers against Philly.
Yeah.
And if you move over, a Slay or a Bradbury to face Kelsey, one, can they handle Kelsey? Even
Yeah.
two corners that good, and two, what does that do to your outside guys? It's not like they do that all the time. You're going to change your whole defense up, for this one game to match up with Kelsey. So, yeah, I'd probably take the head coach quarterback myself.
It's interesting. You look at the Kansas City roster. We haven't really seen them at full strength, but you think about Mahomes, the Pacheco McKinnon backfield, which is pretty dynamic. Pacheco started to come on along with McKinnon, and then you've got Kelsey, who we know is a beast. But I'm interested to see how they use Tony and Juju and MVS.
Yeah, me too. I think Tony, if healthy, could be a really unique player against them. I mean, there's a reason he went in the first round. The guy's got some special yak ability, and
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like what do you call it? Scramble plays.
Yeah.
Tony could be a guy that breaks loose.
Yeah, and Andy Reid's going to find a way to get the ball in his hands. But yeah, kind of going back to the question, I definitely favor the experience of the head coach and Andy Reid and Mahomes, because I think that seems to what has been the difference maker. I mean, we saw it against Jacksonville and the Chargers. Doug Peterson, even being down by 20 points, he still found a way to overcome against Brandon Staley and Herbert, who had been there for their first time. But yeah, it just seems to be that experience always is the difference maker. And it seems to come out on the right side of things.
Yeah, I agree. I would definitely, if you forced me to pick, I'd definitely be, and we're going to later.
Yeah.
We'll give the score prediction and everything, but heads up, head coach quarterback for me would be the way I'd lean.
Yeah, so you touched a little bit about Philly's competition leading up to the Super Bowl, and when you look at their schedule, they kind of had an easy run there. Do you think their easy schedule from the beginning of the season to now could possibly hurt them?
I think it can, especially the playoff. The two like Giants weren't a real playoff team, and
Yeah.
if the league was a little bit stronger in the NFC, where Green Bay was still capable and stuff, and I just don't feel like the Giants were a true playoff team with that roster.
Right.
So you wipe out them, and then the Niners have no quarterback in there. So now, you really haven't had to play like that elite quarterback or that that big close game. Do you know how to win those? Because if you look last year, they got wiped out by Tampa Bay. Then you played two pretty non-competitive teams in the NFC, and now you're walking in against a team that's won a Super Bowl, been to another one. Andy Reid has been to one over in Philly as well. I mean, they've just been in so many big games. And, can you handle that when a team comes up and is able to punch you back? Do you get staggered? How do you take a punch now?
Right. Mike, I was looking over because I like this question. It made me think. So I wanted to look over the Eagles schedule. And yeah, I know that in the playoffs, they didn't really play the toughest opponents, but you look at their schedule, they did play 4 playoff teams. And in addition to those 4 teams, 6 total teams with winning records with a couple of other teams at 8-8. I mean, their schedule wasn't, a number 1 seed difficult schedule, but it might not have been as easy as we initially thought. That being said, this is a big boy matchup. I mean, you're in the Super Bowl, of course, you're playing a good team, but yeah, this will really put Philly to the test.
Yeah, when you go through, I know the records say differently, but when you go through they got a lot of breaks on. This is not their fault. They did what they needed to do. This is absolutely fine. They got their wins, but they would run into teams right as like Arizona right before they get Hopkins, like Dallas when Dak's hurt, the first game.
Yeah.
They kind of went on a run where it was like every time they'd play somebody, something favorable would go in their way, like a big time player would get injured, and it was like, all right, well, there goes that team's chance,
Right.
So they were able to, not every game, but they were able to get like a lot of breaks this year. So I'm interested to see, if Kansas City stays healthy and full and intact and is able to punch Philly, how do they handle it? Because I don't feel like they've taken many punches this season.
Yeah, kind of. When you say that, talking about leading up to a week, the key person from the opposing team is missing. Kind of sounds like the luck that Dallas had last year.
Yeah, I agree. Yep, and we did pretty well until we ran our first playoff game happened to be against one of those top 4 teams again.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, is that what's going to happen? That's my whole thing. Is something like that going to happen to Philly when they run into Kansas City?
Yeah, and the biggest difference is towards the the end of the year, or like the tougher part of the schedule, Dallas started suffering some injuries.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Shoot, this year to Terrence Steele. Who'd have thought that? Terrence Steele injury just killed them. It almost eliminated their running game.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, Mike, moving on to the Cowboys here, and Jerry and company were at the Senior Bowl, and Jerry had some interesting things to say about the Rams and Philly when he was asked about, I guess, I don't know the exact question. I forgot to look it up, but I guess the question was about going all in a year. And Jerry says that, they went all in for just 1 year, which I don't agree with, but what are your thoughts on him making that comment?
That's my whole, well, for one, okay. What he's saying is, yeah, Rams won the Super Bowl, but look at them this year. Well, who cares? They won the Super Bowl. Like, so the Rams won. The Philly one is dumb. Like that's him trying to sell. That's his con, the snake oil salesman. Like,
yeah,
they have more cap space than you. They have more top 100 picks the next 2 drafts than you. They went out and signed Hargrave and Hassan Reddick, big time defensive players. Charlie Garner Johnson, they brought him in, and Ndamukong Suh, Linval Joseph. So they got big guys and small guys like you, and still have more cap space at the end of the next season, and have an extra first this year and an extra second next year. So they have more top 100 picks than you the next 2 seasons. So him saying that they went all in for a year that's Jerry selling, half the fan base. Oh yeah, we'd rather be, good for a few years, even though they watched Philly win a Super Bowl, tear it all down, and go back to the Super Bowl, and we still are like, we won a playoff game this year. Like, we retired Tom Brady. Yay. That's like winning a Super Bowl. Like, so it kind of makes me want to, punch myself in the face. Like they I can't remember who tweeted it, but somebody, or maybe it was Joey Ikes, but he was saying like the Cowboys would rather win their way than just win. Like,
Yeah.
we'll take losing as long as we can do it our way. And it hasn't won in forever. So it's like you don't see the possibility of it winning because they've been trying so long and have sucked at it so bad that and we've seen so many teams do it not just Rams and Eagles. Tampa did it before that, and Kansas City did it before that, and it's like, it's frustrating to be like, no, dude, you don't understand. The way you win is draft well, sign good low price free agents, develop your guys, and then supplement with a big time free agent or two to put you over the top. And we just don't even try to do that last part. We don't try at all to do it.
Yeah, and it's crazy because you look at the core of the Eagles team on offense and defense, and they've got a young core to build around that are under contract for a decent part of time. So it's not like they're not going to be in the playoff hunt the following, the next couple of seasons either.
And the guys like Brandon Graham, they just signed Hassan Reddick, so and Sweat. So Brandon Graham is going to go out soon. Fletcher Cox goes out soon, but you got Hargrave.
Yeah.
Now you got Jordan Davis. So you've got a new starting there.
Yeah.
And then you have 4 top 100 picks the next 2 years to rotate to put another defensive end or another defensive tackle or get a better linebacker or, replace the safety if you can't sign Charlie Gardner Johnson, or if Slay and Bradbury slip with age, you can bring in a corner. Like, they just have, and they'll pay. They have more cap space, so they'll go get a guy if they need to. Like, their front office just runs things much better than ours. And I know overall as an organization, we have 5 titles. They have 1 title. I totally get that. They're not going to catch us there. But since the 2000s, their Eagles are better than Dallas. Like, we're not even competitive with them. They've been to 3 Super Bowls and won 1 already. And we haven't done diddly shit.
Yeah. Well, and one thing, also going for the Eagles is they weren't afraid to trade a quarterback that they didn't think was, capable of taking them where they wanted to go. And they also weren't scared about going full suck, if you will, to get a top pick and then, getting creative with it, not just saying we're going to take a guy, like play it safe. We're going to make some moves and, see what we can do with these assets that we do have.
Just imagine if they did for Dak what they did to Jalen Hurts after Dak's 2016 year. After 2016, where they made it and then Green Bay ended up beating them and everything, if they had a cheap quarterback, Romo was only $8 million dead cap, Zeke was cheap, they could have went in and brought 3 or 4 guys in free agency and really went after it and gave Dak and Zeke and them a window for the next 3 years after that, from 2016 to 2020, to really go for, a title or two. And they just never did it. And that, I think, is their biggest mistake, because now, while I believe they'll restructure Dak, they probably should do it this offseason, really, because the big cap hit is hitting. But while I think they'll do that, I don't know if they'll, be comfortable with the number enough to really go all in, while Dak is here.
That 2019 season proved to be so pivotal for the Eagles, because you think about it, they take Jalen Hurts with a 2nd-round pick, they get scrutinized for it. Then Carson Wentz, I don't know how he just gets the yips, he can't play football anymore. And they decide, instead of parting ways with Carson Wentz, they fire a Super Bowl winning coach in Doug Peterson, and then they trade away Carson Wentz. That all happened in 1 year, dude.
And it's crazy because I saw them get killed when they drafted Hurts, and I've never been a Hurts fan, but the idea of drafting a quarterback there I loved, because I was like, well, they know their quarterback's mentally shot.
Yeah.
So they need to invest in the position because they believe the guy that, they can get him out, get a new guy in, and rebuild a really good team around them the way they did Carson Wentz when he was, in 2017, his team was loaded. That's why he was MVP candidate. So, it's just they run their team better than our owner GM is not in the caliber as was it Howie Roseman? Is that the Eagles guy? Yeah, they're just not comparable.
Yeah, so just going back to the question there, Mike, what did I think of Jerry making those comments? I hate it just because it bothers me because it makes me think he's not willing to go all in for a Super Bowl anymore like he used to be.
Yeah, I don't. It doesn't. They've given me no reason to. And this year, they can cut plenty of money. They could take Zeke. They could take Tyron's contract. You can bring back Peters, and he could help you survive until Steele is ready, and you have Tyler Smith that's rotational, and you could save enough money there. You could restructure Dak and save or re-sign Dak and save a ton of money there. And you can go out and get a trade for a wide receiver. Sign a defensive tackle, a Daron Payne. Well, but we already know that's not going to happen. They don't value the position enough to, even if they were to sign a guy, it won't be that position. And so it makes it difficult to know, like, all right, they're not going to go full barrel into it.
Yeah, that really sucks. When you look at kind of peeking into free agency, Mike, you talked a little bit about Tyron and Zeke there. Is there a main guy that you want the Cowboys to re-sign, even if it means that we don't bring back some other players?
I wouldn't re-sign them, but the guy they have to bring back and use the tag on is Pollard. And I know I'm not, like I said, I don't draft a running back in the first round. I don't want to pay guys. The way I look at Pollard is we only have one guaranteed playmaker. That's CeeDee Lamb. Mm-hmm. We need another playmaker, whether it's running leading the league in yards per carry, or being able to break a big play in the passing game. Like Tony Pollard at least gives you a second guy. Right now we don't have that. And if we lose him, even if you go into the draft and draft the running back, who knows the draft? Trent Richardson went 3rd overall and was a bust.
Yeah,
like it's a crapshoot. Everybody, including me, I would have took Jalen Tolbert in the 2nd round. How bad would that have looked? Mm-hmm. So I just don't want to risk going in and going, all right, we're going to draft, our guys. We're going to draft a guy in the 1st and a guy in the 5th, and that's what we're going to go at.
Right.
And then get a 2nd round running back, and hopefully the offense works out. Like, that's a terrifying plan to me. So I want to get Pollard.
Yeah, I don't hate that move, Mike. For me, I'm going to go with Leighton Vander Esch, man. You just look at our linebackers. Of course, Micah is a linebacker and by name only, by title only, really. Yeah, and then you look at Damone. Yeah, and then you look at Damone Clark. I mean, we've seen some positive signs of what he could be, but the dude did have spinal fusion surgery, dude. I mean, one bad hit, one bad play, this guy might be out of football forever. We still don't know what we have in Jabril Cox, looking like a special teams guy, and then who was it, Luke Gifford? I mean, we saw what LVE did for this defense the last 2 seasons. I think he's a priority, in my opinion.
We need his mind for at least this year and maybe next year until Damone Clark's mind catches up with his talent.
Yeah.
Once that happens, if that clicks next year, then that's fine. LVE can be shown out. You can do whatever you got to do. But I think you're right. That would be my 2nd guy after Pollard. If you're talking about signing somebody more than 1 year, I'd rather have only LVE 1 year, but I could see giving him a 2-year contract somewhere around $7-8 million a year.
So you were talking about playmakers, Mike. I don't want to jump to conclusions, but do you have little faith of Michael Gallup kind of returning to form, or do you just not view him as a playmaker even when he, is healthy and playing like we've seen him play?
I think he'll be better a year off, getting the whole offseason to be a football player and not just rehabbing an injury.
Yeah.
I think he'll be back, but he's a limited playmaker. So he can make plays where you throw it up one-on-one and make plays that way.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, he's not like a yak guy. He's not a catch a slant, take it all the way guy. You're not going to throw him a wide receiver screen. He's going to break everything for a touchdown. That's the Pollard CeeDee Lamb I would like to add OBJ. I think would be a guy I'd like to get there to,
Right.
that we didn't have to worry about just draft. Like, oh, in the draft we got to get somebody. So yeah, he's a different type of playmaker, but he's not the type of playmaker I'm talking about, where
Yeah,
like
yeah.
any play could be broken by them.
Right, I got you. Yeah, makes sense. So, a move that the Cowboys made, of course, we let go of a good portion of the coaching staff, Mike, and we one of those people being Joe Philbin, he gets replaced by Mike Solari. I want to defer to you here, Mike, because I don't know much about Mike Solari, but is he an upgrade over Joe Philbin? What can we expect from our offensive line with a coach like him?
Okay, man, upgrade's tough. I would probably say yes, but I want to give credit to Philman because he knew how to survive. Dude lost his. I know we always say Tyron's always hurt. They have to know he's going to be hurt, but they bring him in, expect him to play at least 12 games.
Yeah,
he was gone before a preseason game. So they lose their All-Pro left tackle, and they have to shift the rookie out to left tackle, throw Connor McGovern into left guard. Then they lose. They lose Steele and survive that. And there's games they lose other guys. And it's he knows how to patchwork things up to where you can survive with what you have, and that's valuable because you never know how injured you're going to be at the line. Solari has been a pretty damn good run. He set up some good run blocking units. He was in San Francisco under Jim Harbaugh. We all know what that run game could do. Seattle, we know what Pete Carroll's run game is all about. It was top 5 under him. So recently he's had some good run games. Now the pass protection, especially in Seattle, hasn't been great, but they haven't been talented. I mean,
no, they haven't.
Our O-line is more talented than the Seattle's O-line. And sometimes with pass blocking, you need some talent too. It's not just big guys and moving people and letting the running back make a play, So
right.
I think it's an improvement. I also like the style, the more physical style of Solari, and he's more multiple than Philbin. So I like that. So I would say it's an upgrade, but with the sense that I don't know if, Tyron and Steele can't play this year. Can he patchwork it like Philbin could? That I don't know.
So it sounds like, though, when you have a healthy Steele, and of course, with Tyler Smith, you mentioned the physicality. I think sounds like it might be a better fit as far as scheme and talent goes.
I agree, especially if you can get either another physical left tackle or left guard to play next. Wherever you have Tyler Smith, get a big physical guy next to him to where Biotis is only the kind of smaller type guy. Now you're talking about a Solari type unit.
I know it's early in the prospect process, draft doing draft research, Mike, but it seems like this draft class is filled with tackles and guards and some guys that if you're in need that you can probably find a good one even in the 3rd round.
Osiris Torrance, I would take at 26 in a heartbeat if he got there.
Yeah. So similar question, Mike. Again, we know Kellen Moore moved on to the Chargers. We bring in Brian Schottenheimer, not necessarily bring in, but he gets a promotion. What do you think there? Is that an upgrade? Is Schottenheimer an upgrade over Kellen Moore?
Does he get a promotion? I mean, Mike McCarthy's calling plays.
Yeah.
So he's kind of doing the same thing he did before, just instead of Kellen Moore calling plays, Mike McCarthy's calling plays.
So he was the offensive advisor, right? Is that what his role was?
And my guess is he'll be the run game coordinator. His run games in Seattle were good. I wouldn't say he's an upgrade. You got to show me Kellen Moore, anytime he had a starting quarterback, was a top 3 offense. You got to give that guy credit for that. I understand that against the better defenses, they were able to figure him out a little. But the quarterback play also wasn't great in those games. So, I'm not going to give them upgrade. I would say they're very different.
Yeah, I'm not. I'll tease it now, but for Mike's views from the sidelines, I'm excited to hear what your thoughts are there on that question, but we'll save that for when that time comes. So you look at these moves, of course, losing Kellen Moore, losing Joe Philman, but then replacing them with Brian Schottenheimer and with Solaria. Is our coaching staff currently better, worse, or about the same with these recent changes?
I have to go worse only because it's incomplete right now.
Yeah.
Well, they filled the O line and the offensive coordinator. The play caller was Mike McCarthy, so that's a switch over. So Schottenheimer wasn't. He's still doing the same thing. So they didn't really do anything there yet. Schottenheimer's advising, Mike McCarthy's calling plays. So they just switched that. They haven't done anything about the defensive line, about the linebackers coach. They haven't done anything about the running backs coach. So I have a feeling the wide receivers coach will likely move on still. He's more of a Kellen Moore guy, but I don't think they've done enough to where we can be like, oh yeah, they're improved. I would say it's incomplete. And since they had a pretty damn good coaching staff, I got to say it's worse.
Yeah, Mike, for me, I'll say, I didn't know much about either guy except for the little bit of breakdown that you just did. And then, kind of reading about them on Twitter. I won't say worse, better, or the same. I'm going to say it's just different. I like the word you used, incomplete, but I mean, it's just different. I'm excited to see it because I know a lot of people didn't like Kellen Moore, but it was time for a change. So I'm excited to see that. But, until I do see it, I have no idea what to expect.
Yeah, I was a Kellen Moore guy. I'm a fan of Kellen Moore. He put up the numbers and everything. But even I talked to Tony Casillas for Blogging with the Boys. And I told him, he goes, well, you got to tell me who's going to get this. And I was like, hey, I'm with you. I'm a Moore guy. I just think it's time to get a different voice in Dak's ear. That's the only reason I want to change. I think he's going to kill it in the Chargers, and everybody's going to be like, no, why'd they get rid of this guy? He's so stupid, yada, yada, yada. But I thought it was time for a change personally in the voice in Dak's ear.
I mean, 7 years, that's a good amount of time.
It's hard to be authoritative when you were the starting quarterback over him for a while in Dak's rookie year. So was Jameer Showers, who ended up being a practice squad safety. But
yeah,
they're more peers than they are, than somebody that's like, you need to do this.
Right. Yeah, kind of. You can't. It's hard to take advice from somebody who couldn't really do better than you did. You know what I mean?
I agree.
All right, Mike, Here we are with your views from the sidelines. And this week, I want you to discuss with us, what will Schottenheimer's offense do for these receivers? I know you think he's going to be like the running back coordinator, but after you answered that, now I'm like, okay, this question probably doesn't mean anything. But
when you said it, I'm waiting for this answer on this, I was like, boy, is he going to be disappointed? Because the wording I put is honestly nothing. Mike McCarthy's doing the game planning.
Yeah.
He just helps install the game plan about what he did last year. He's not calling plays. He's not a wide receivers coach. I truly believe what he did well in Seattle, along with Mike Solari, those two together were very good in the run game. And I believe that under Mike McCarthy, he wants this team to be and I know we hate it. It's not what wins in nowadays football, but he has a good defense, and if he can get a run game that shortens the time the defense has to field, shortens the other team's possessions, we can control the clock. And you have Dak Prescott that if he plays well, that means you can win every single game you play. Every game. Your defense plays well, your run game's well. Your quarterback's great on third down under Kellen Moore. We got to see under Mike McCarthy, but he was great on third down under Kellen Moore. And you're going to win 12 games a season doing that. And then it's about putting it together in the playoffs more than just one game against Tampa Bay. You got to be able to do it against good defenses. So I honestly, nothing. I apologize.
Well, let me ask you this. What do you think Mike McCarthy's offense will do for our wide receivers?
I got to see if he's updated it, because to be honest, his offense is kind of obsolete from the old school days. If he just brings what he did in Green Bay over, defenses know how to stop that already. That's the whole idea of motion and trying to set up matchups is because if you just run out 3 wide and do your slant flats, teams know how to stop that. This is not going to work.
Gotcha. All right, Mike, here we are with one word. If the Eagles win the Super Bowl, Twitter will be blank.
Samesies.
Samesies. Hey, I like that, man.
It's what has it? In 2005, they made a Super Bowl. In 2017, they won a Super Bowl. And now they're back in the Super Bowl. Like, their teams had bragging rights except for head-to-head versus Dak. Dak kills them. But their team has bragging rights against us for about the last almost 20 years. So, I mean, sure, we'll go 5-2. We're the better organization. And they'll be like, yeah, but we've won 2 and been to 3 Super Bowls since the 2000s. Like, update your resume once in a while is basically what they're going to say. And it's a pain in the butt, but it's the same thing we've dealt with for the last 20 years about.
So, Mike, my word is going to be annoying, but I say that on 2005, it wasn't on Twitter. 2017, the Eagles people that I did interact with, when they did win the Super Bowl, I actually reached out to them via DM. I was like, "Hey, congratulations," because they're always cool. I mean, it was fun back and forth, just talking trash. But for the most part, they were pretty humble people. But this is I don't know, man. This is a new breed of Eagles fans on Twitter these days, man. I mean, they're always trolling, talking about the Eagles, talking about Dak, just saying things not even necessarily because they believe those things, but just to kind of kick the Cowboys' nest. Man, I think it's going to be borderline unbearable. But I don't get involved in any Eagles or Cowboys debates anymore. But for the people that do, like you said, the ones that were having that long discussion today for 24 hours, I feel bad for them if Eagles win.
Yeah, I'll stay away from them because what can I argue about? Like, Hurts has already been to a Super Bowl. So what do you want me to I don't think I still to this day don't think Hurts in a regular team that doesn't have the best offensive line, 2 great receivers, a great tight end. Do I think he would go and own it, dominate? No, I don't. I don't think he'd be as good as Dak. But if somebody ranked him, of course I got to rank Hurts first. In his style of offense, he's killing. He's destroying. Yeah. When teams tried to stop it and he's got one-on-one, he's hitting his good receivers, he's hitting his tight end. Okay, so his team's great. And he still has to do it. He's the one that has to make those throws and make the decisions and everything. And I can't sit there and watch him cut up the Niners offense, even though there was no threat. Their run game, he went for 100-something yards, But they were playing conservative because they knew that the other team didn't have a quarterback. But he put 31 on them. They beat their brains in. And then Dak Prescott did nothing against Niners defense. So I'm not going to get into it with them because they're right. They're a better organization. Their quarterback is playing better in the big games. Already got to the Super Bowl. Their GM is a million times better. They have more cash. They have more picks. They're better.
Yeah, when Jalen Hurts, when he can overcome a bad coaching staff, bad team building, and a bad front office, then I'll see him in a different light. But man, it just seems like Dak has had to put up with so much other BS that these elite guys don't have to deal with.
Hey, if we lost 32-35 and Dak threw 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, I wouldn't be down on him right now. But he went in there. The defense played great. The special teams -1, the first extra point, made their field goals, gave him good field position. And he just didn't have a good game. So the offense just didn't do their part.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is at this point.
Man, it's just he picked the worst day to have a bad game, Mike.
Yeah, I know. Yep. Unfortunately, it's true.
All right, so back to the Super Bowl. Who's your Super Bowl winning prediction, Mike? What is your Super Bowl winning prediction?
I got KC 31-22 over the Eagles. I think it'll be a pretty competitive game, but I don't know if I'll by the third quarter if I'll be scared. As long as Mahomes is good, they should be fine.
Yeah, I have KC winning a close one too. I think it's going to come down to probably one of the last two possessions of the game.
Very possibly could.
Okay, so I want to give a shout out to our guy JJ on Twitter. I believe it's JJ Tor, JJ Tor Let's Go, I believe is what his handle is. A couple weeks ago, he asked if we had ranked our top 5 game day meals. We hadn't, so that's what we're going to do tonight. Especially, on Super Bowl, you want to have a good spread, Mike. So start us off with number 5. When you think about your top 5 favorite game day meals, what is number 5 on your list?
I think this is one that'll guarantee it's a lazy one, but I think we'll both have it on our top 5 because it's like how do you not pizza?
Yeah.
Not frozen Red Baron, but like good pizza. It's Super Bowl. We got to step it up. But yeah, I think pizza's, I know it's a basic one, but I think pizza's got to be in the top 5.
Yeah, like if I went to a Super Bowl party and they just all they had was pizza, I'm like, okay, I mean, I love pizza, especially good pizza, right? But I'd be like, this is either somebody who didn't have time to prep or just was like wanted to do something easy because they were having a house full of people. It's an easy thing to do. Like you said, it is kind of lazy. It's not something I would do. I mean, that's kind of like when you were in a pinch, you had a busy week and you couldn't prep for anything, or do anything a little bit more creative, if you will. Pizza's the way to go.
You got your kids and the kids are going to school and you don't have time. You don't know how to cook.
Yeah.
And what do I buy that everybody will eat where I don't have to spend a ton of money? Pizza. Easy one.
Sir. Simpatico, Mike. I think that's the word there. But yeah, number 5 on my list is pizza for all the reasons we've already said.
It's funny that they were both 5.
Yeah, that is. That's
because it's
true.
Like, pizza, sure.
You love it, but there's nothing really that exciting about it.
Yeah, I agree.
So number 4 on my list, Mike, I kind of went back and forth here because the one I didn't end up, the one I ended up replacing, the one I'm going to say, didn't make the list at all. But I didn't do this for a football game, but I did it for the Mavericks, like Game 7 against Phoenix last year in the playoffs, and I went with a Asian spread. Like you just got some Chinese takeout. I was like, this worked out pretty well. You can get like a rice dish, a noodle dish, egg rolls, some appetizers, and everybody will be full. And it's still a pretty reasonably priced. It's about the same price as like getting really good pizza. But I took that off, and I'm going with number 4 on my list is cookout, like barbecue type food spread. Maybe you have some drumsticks, maybe you have brisket, or you'd like do some ribs or like a pulled pork, stuff like that. With some potato salad, coleslaw, some barbecue beans. Not the easiest thing to eat. You don't want to. You like to eat finger foods. You don't want to worry about making a mess at somebody's house. But that's kind of like the food I like to sit around watching a game with is barbecue cookout type food.
Yeah, I love it. That honestly didn't make mine, which I'm surprised. That one didn't, and meatball sandwiches didn't. I thought both of them would.
Yeah,
but neither of them made it. I was pretty shocked. I mean, the barbecue spread is another one that I would have probably thought, oh, those for sure in the top 5. They didn't sneak into mine.
All right, so what's number 4 on your list?
I got nachos. So the thing about nachos is they're so versatile. Like chips and cheese, sure. Want to add asada? Sure. Want to do carnitas? Sure. Guacamole? Yep. Sour cream? Yeah. Pico de gallo? All right. Like, I guess dips could be put into that because it's a chip type thing. I was sticking more with nachos, but nachos / chip and dip, I think works in there too. Like some people do 7-layer dips that you dip your chips into. It's nachos, just delivered differently,
Yeah.
Instead of the cheese and everything piled on, it's the chips, you spoon some dipped out and then so chips and dips / nachos would be my number 4.
Dude, the nacho taco bar type setup, where you get the meat and you can either get flour tortillas or corn or like tortilla chips, and you set it up however you want. That's a good way to go, bro, on game day.
If you knew what was coming on my game day spread, dude, bro.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about it on Monday.
Yeah, you, bro.
If you're not too busy, take a picture, man.
Huh?
I said if you're not too busy and you can remember, take a picture because I'd like to see it.
Yeah, I got you. I will. It's
Okay, so here we are at number 3, Mike. What's number 3 on your list?
3 on my list, and this is the one that knocked the barbecue out because it's something that this year I'm surprisingly not doing it because I have a gigantor amount of stuff that I have to do, and it's labor intensive.
Yeah.
But it's probably my favorite bite of food. I'm sure we've had it on a top 5. I'm positive we have. It is dates that are filled with goat cheese and wrapped in bacon.
Yep.
The perfect bite. It is the perfect bite of food. It's just a pain in the butt, so I only do it typically on big occasions, but this spread that I got coming up is just too much work to be pitting dates, filling it with goat cheese, half cooking bacon, wrapping them up, sliding a toothpick, finishing cooking them, but as far as it goes, like the perfect bite of food, it's sweet and tangy and smoky. God. And you know what would be great? Like a hot honey.
Oh, Lord, dude.
Oh, my God. I need to try
that. Speaking of dates, have you seen the TikTok hack? I don't know if it's a TikTok hack, but this woman, she's like a food, she makes food on YouTube or whatever. She did this recipe where she took a date and she filled it with peanut butter and then I guess either a pecan or a walnut, then dipped it in chocolate and put them in the fridge for a couple hours. Apparently it tastes exactly like a Snickers.
No shit. Even with the date, like a little bit of fruitiness, that brings the sweetness. Yeah. I would try that.
It sounds so good, dude.
So you pit the date, you fill it with peanut butter, wrap it in milk chocolate or dark chocolate. Do you know?
Whatever your dealer's choice.
Okay, I'd probably do dark chocolate, offset the sweetness.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be, I would try that.
Yeah, sounds good. So Mike, number 3 on my list, I know Texas weather doesn't always permit for this type of stuff, but man, I love chili. Somebody makes potted chili and they also make cornbread. They have like the Fritos or tortilla chips. Of course you've got the onions and the cheese and everything, but chili is one of my favorite game day foods, man.
Must. Chili is
Oh, and then with the hot dogs, like fresh off the grill, bro, like burnt.
Yes. Chili is elite. Chili is elite game day food.
Oh, and then, man, if you have like the nacho bars, but then also with the fresh made chili, bro, so good.
Yes. And there's so many ways you could do chili. Like you could chop up brisket in it. You could chop up pork in it. You can make it with ground beef. Turkey chili is it's one of the you want to make yourself a healthier stuff. There's turkey chilies that you use corn, veggie broth, like certain stuff like that. You can do a whole container that's like 5 Weight Watcher points, which is not a lot for a chili.
Yeah.
And it's a way to make ground turkey flavorful, which is,
that's not an easy task.
Burger. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Turkey chili's elite. Chili's up there for sure.
I haven't had a good chili dog in a long time, man. Now I'm kind of wondering because we're gonna have some people over on Sunday, if maybe I should go that route. But man, I don't know. That can be, it's hard to mess up chili, but the day you do mess it up would be the time when people are coming over and they're all going to be hungry for the game. You know what I mean?
I'll give you my foolproof chili recipe, dude.
Promise. I've never made a bad one, but I just feel like that would be the time that I would mess it up on Super Bowl of all days.
It's a way you should go, but man, if you did mess it up,
that would suck. Hey, shout out to JJ. He was listening, man. I think this is the first time he's commented live on the stream here. But every time I watch you guys live, I get hungry. This isn't good for calorie counters. Well, shout out to JJ, man. Thank you for the top 5 topic tonight, man. We appreciate you. And I apologize if I got your Twitter handle wrong. I meant to write it down. But it's been a long day, man. So forgive me if I got your Twitter handle wrong. But I will make sure when I tweet out the link for the audio version, I'll make sure to show you the proper.
Comment it. Have them comment it, and we'll put it right up there.
Yeah, for sure, JJ. If you're still with us, man, put your Twitter handle here so I can make sure I got that right for you. And
if he doesn't, and we know he left us early, we know
he wants to go grab a snack. I'm sure, Mike.
Blocked.
Okay, so number 2 on my list. This is a common one, I'm sure, but I eat these things about once a week, which is probably too much. but I love wings, dude. Wings and carrot sticks and celery.
Well, which number are you on?
Number 2, right? Oh, did I
Yeah,
skip
look
your
at
3?
us.
Did I skip your
No,
3?
we got no, I did, but my number 2 is also wings.
No.
Yeah, we got 2 the same exact number.
Wow. Holy cow. That's never, ever happened, dude.
All right, so give me your wing. Like you're doing game day. What's the wing you would do? Like you had to pick one.
Oh, I could only pick one? Man. It would definitely be bone-in, obviously. And if I could
Yeah.
only do one, I think I would probably do I might go a little bit bold here. I'd probably do like a dry rub, and I think I would go with Louisiana rub. Have you ever had Louisiana rub from
Oh yeah.
Wingstop? Dude, that would be my choice.
I like to brine mine. Try this, guys, for people that don't mind trying stuff unique because it's so friggin' good. Brined the chicken wings overnight in pickle juice. Okay. And I
Okay.
know you got to buy a lot of jars of pickles. Do something else with the pickles. Figure it out. Brine them in pickle juice, then take them out the day of and dredge them in obviously you want to do like a damn it,
Seasoned flour or cornstarch?
pretzels and Ritz. I couldn't remember the Ritz crackers. Pretzels and Ritz completely ground up. You got to ground them up a lot, but it's like salty and like real crunchy. So you get the brine of the pickle juice. You do a pretzel Ritz cracker, blend it, and then
Yeah.
let them in that, and then fry it.
What in the world? You don't even
So
need sauce?
no, so I mean you
Wow.
pair it with whatever sauce you want, but it's so good. It's like a fried chicken wing, like you've fried it, but
Yeah.
like the mix of like pretzels and Ritz with the brine pickle juice in there.
That's insane, dude.
I come up with crazy shit, dude. I don't know what to tell you. My brain
Wait,
works
that
different.
was just off the top. You were like randomly, I'm gonna try this and see what happens.
Somebody told me brine your chicken wings in
Pickle
pickle
juice?
juice. And
Yeah.
so I did that, and then I just cooked them in the oven and tried it to see what kind of flavor comes through. And I was like, oh, I get that. I see now. Now,
Yeah.
what can I do to that to make it like to put that up there? And the saltiness and the crunchiness of the pretzel and Ritz combination, fire, dude. It's just sometimes they're hard to stick on. So that could be a pain in the butt. Like maybe you want to get them on and freeze them before. I wish I can remember what I did. I did this 2 years ago, and I still to this day am like, Jesus Christ, those wings were amazing.
That's an interesting combination because I know apparently Chick-fil-A, I don't know if you've ever had Chick-fil-A, Mike, but
Yeah,
are they like popular in California?
hugely popular here.
Okay. They soak their chicken breast in pickle juice.
Really, that is
Yeah.
not where I got it from, but maybe that's where the person who told me
Yeah.
got it from. Because I did not know that. I've been to Chick-fil-A a few times. Pretty good food.
Yeah, you can do a lot of like interesting marinades and brines with chicken.
Yeah, dude, you don't even want to get me. I've done some. I try weird shit. I don't care.
Hey, why not? You only live once, Mike. Okay, here we are, number 1. This is the big one.
Chili,
I feel like you're gonna get chili.
chili,
I
chili
love
is
it,
number
man.
one. And here's the thing:
Wow.
chili is my number one because it's so versatile, and that's why I was waiting. Nachos, pour chili on it. Cornbread, pour chili on it. You making a hamburger? Put that goddamn chili on it. Hot dog, chili on it. The chili is so versatile. We do chili I have like 17 things going on this damn spread, including wings and pork and brisket and everything. And Mitchell was like, "Well, you're gonna make chili, right?" And I was like, I'm doing all this other stuff. He's like, "Come on, dude, it's Super Bowl. You got to do chili." I'm
Yeah.
like, "Yes, I'll do the damn chili." And my chili recipe is elite chili. So like it's to be fair, it's a take on a Michael Simon recipe. So Michael Simon's recipe that I add a little bit of stuff to
Yeah.
is Elite. The guy's Michael Simon's a genius. So
What's your favorite thing to put chili on?
dog,
Dog, yeah.
chili dogs all day. And the thing is I do some. I like to do like honestly on that. I like to do a chili topping. So I like to take a little bit of chili that I make and put it in the food processor to thin it out a little bit, like make it where the beans get chopped down, the meat gets chopped down, so it's more of like a brown sauce, thick
Mm,
sauce, and it
yeah.
goes in there like a chili, like a top. Oh God.
Because there is a difference between like your traditional chili and then like chili that's better for a chili dog.
Yes, I agree. I think one's called let's see, there would be like Texas chili where you don't have the beans, but
Yeah.
what I do is I gotta have the beans because I want the protein. So
Yes.
it's like for me, it's like why would I leave the beans out? It's free protein. Like I'm gonna put the beans in. And so I just all I do is blend it up to where it's not like clumpy on the dog. You put it on, it's kind of like I don't eat these because you know how I am, fast food. But back in the day, I used to be a Wiener Schnitzel hound, and it's like theirs, where it just looks like a thick brown sauce. You don't even,
Yeah.
you know. And I like that's how I like to have it on a dog. Now on a burger, I'll put it on full. On the nachos, I'll put it on full.
Right.
The elite of the elite cornbread. If you make good cornbread,
Jalapeno cheddar cornbread, bro. Man.
bro, all day. Pour the chili on it. Let's go to town.
I can't imagine having chili without beans personally.
Yeah, I mean, I do it. I've tried Cincinnati where it's on pasta. It's delicious. It's like it's chili. Put it on whatever. I don't care what you want to put it on. Put it on pizza. Go ahead. Don't bother me. I made a sloppy Joe pizza once. It's so good.
Oh wow, that sounds phenomenal. All right, Mike, number one on my list. This is kind of cheating, but I did chips and dips and finger food. But man, I mean chips and dips. You know, you can have guacamole, you can have spinach artichoke dip, you can have I believe it's called millionaire dip, or no, not millionaire dip, but you can have like jalapeno popper dip. So many different things you can do, and then you can have like 7-layer dip, and then you can have like Doritos, you can have tortilla chips, you can have Fritos, you can do so many other different things. You can even just have veggie sticks. But again, plus not only that, but then you can have so much of it, and not get full. It's easy to eat. You can kind of leave it out. You don't have to worry about it like not being fresh anymore. It's an easy thing, but it's also versatile enough where you can like make a lot of it and have different tastes.
Yep. Chop up pepperoni or your favorite salami or whatever. Put it in oil and low heat and let it cook up till it starts to crisp.
Yeah.
It kind of flavors the oil with that pepperoni or salami or whatever. I would make a tomato sauce, but if you have a good jarred tomato sauce, put that in there. Let that meld together. Take it in the pan as long as it's oven safe. Top it with mozzarella cheese. Stick it in the oven. Let that bake until it gets all bubbly and everything. You could do Parmesan over the top if you want, or a little bit of ricotta over the top if you want. But take those out, and then whether you have chips, breadsticks, cheese sticks, whatever you want, it's like a pizza dip.
Never had pizza dip. It sounds delicious.
Bro, so good.
Man, I'm looking forward to some chips and dips. I haven't really decided on the menu yet, but I can't watch a game without chips and dip, honestly.
I know the proteins I have. I just am not fully sure what I want to do with each one because I want them to be pretty cohesive.
Yeah.
But the brisket, is it brisket or tri-tip? Whatever one I have in there, I need to look again. I'm gonna make that, and some of that is definitely going in the chili. I know I have pork that I will likely do a pulled pork for. I have wings, and I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with those wings yet. But I have that I'm gonna use. It's gonna be fun.
Also, another dip, man, it's really good. I assume you've had a cheese ball, right? With like the dried meat on the outside. You can get that, but just as a dip, it's so much easier to eat and so much easier to make. But that's like an elite dip too.
Yes, I agree. Dips are good. That's a good first one. Mine, I kind of threw that into my nacho thing.
Yeah. All right, Mike. Here we are with our prospect review last week, I said, "Hey, Mike, you're studying prospects, so I gave you an assignment, if you will, and your first player was Eli Ricks, cornerback out of Alabama. Talk to us, Mike. Talk to us about his strengths first. We'll start off with strengths.
I have it in my phone because it's easier than writing
That's
down.
fine.
Okay. He's talented enough to play every style, which I like.
Okay.
He has the size and ability to press if he needed to with some refinement. His mirroring and the way he can play, it's very unique that he can mirror people in the slot even at 6'2", which is really unique. Now maybe he'd be better as a boundary corner, but we saw Bland, who we all thought was a boundary corner, play the slot even better. He's like that. He's very good at even when the receivers have two-way goes, he can mirror them and stay with them. He has the speed to recover, so and the speed to mirror, which is hard because if you're doing drags and stuff, you need to be able to have that little jolt of speed at the end and knock the ball down. He has the size and speed to do that. He tracks the ball well. He gets his head around well, which is very good to keep yourself from getting penalties on those type of plays where you don't turn your head around. In his senior year, when he moved to Alabama, he allowed an incredibly low rating of 41.8 when he was targeted. That's like elite level. That means like don't even throw at him. So that was really good. And he's great in off coverage because of his anticipation. So he knows when he's in off coverage, he's at his best because he kind of can read and react. And with his speed and length, he's very good at it. So those are his strengths.
All right. What about his weaknesses?
All right. His weaknesses, first off, is he weirdly gives up a lot of big plays for like how talented he is. And for when you watch the tape, you're like, my gosh, this guy could be really good if he was consistent. He's really inconsistent. Like he's not great in press, even though he has a lot of good reps in press. He's not a good press corner because he'll miss sometimes or he'll get beat outside sometimes. And he has recovery speed, but he still gets beat a lot. And it was weird. Like, why? Why are you getting beat so many times? Is like mental? Are you not being taught something right? Is there something wrong? He didn't get to do a lot of zone, so he's inconsistent at that as well. He has injury concerns. Only played 14 games in LSU, had a shoulder issue. When he went to Alabama, he had an injury in the offseason or like training camp would be for NFL. And so he didn't start the first game because he wasn't able to practice. And then Alabama got torched for like 400 yards passing. And they were like, yeah, put him in. Let's get this rookie out of here. Put Ricks in. And he locked people down after that. So that, that's the thing. The injuries obviously are a worry, but you're not going to kill on that. The inconsistency when you watch a lot of his tape, you go, well, he can do a lot of good things. But then you see I wouldn't be comfortable right now playing him in press because I've seen him get beat too much. Even though I can't tell you, I'm not good enough a coach to tell you why that's happening. And maybe Dan Quinn and Al Harris and them are, and they could pick him. They could fix that. But right now, me watching as a scout, I'm going in going, okay, can you guys fix this? Because this shouldn't be happening to somebody this talented. Why is he getting beat so much? Why is he having so many penalties? Because he gets his head around. He's good at that. Why is the way he's playing, especially not off ball, when he's on ball man or in zone, why does he have so many issues with penalties? So or things that would be called penalties regularly in the NFL, I should say. And so those are his weaknesses. I would say he needs to probably have his talent coached up.
Would he be a day one contributor?
Oh, yeah. If they can get Deron Bland to be
right,
my guy from Fresno State, but I had him as a special teams guy year one. I was like, he'll make the team. I'm not worried about being him a 5th round pick. He's going to be a special team stud. Shooting ended up being a starter and a really damn good starter. If they can do that with Bland, this kid could definitely be a day one contributor.
Is he a Cowboys? Is he a Cowboys type guy?
6'2", 190 speed, length. Absolutely. We know that. If you're watching this show, you already know the Cowboys, what they like. He fits right into that.
Is he a realistic target?
Yes, absolutely. I'd be interested to see if 26 was too early for him or if 26 ends up being too late for him. That's the crazy thing. You got to see the combine.
Yeah.
You know how that goes. Zion Johnson was a day 2 guy, hit the combine, blew it up, and became the, hey, is this the best guard in the draft? So the combine has that effect. Right now, I know the next question is going to be about his draft. Right now, I'd have him as a day 2.
Okay.
But I believe that he could get in the combine with his size and ability and could make himself a mid-first round pick rather easily. If there wasn't Witherspoon, Joey Porter, is it Cam Smith? I believe is another one. Clark Phillips. Cam Smith might have been a wide receiver. No, Cam Smith. Yeah, South Carolina.
Yeah.
If there wasn't so many corners, I would put him in the first, but I would say he's a day 2 guy. I don't think he would get out of the second round.
Now, I don't remember day 2. I know that's your round prediction, but was that also your part of your grade as well? Did we do that last year? Or did we have a grading scale of like 1 through 100? I can't remember.
I don't have that, especially not now, because I need to see him at the combine first.
I gotcha. Yeah.
So that's the problem with doing these articles coming out. I'm doing one on Devon Witherspoon out of Illinois, my personal favorite corner in the draft, and it's just hard to complete that without seeing how he works in the drills and stuff like that.
All right. Yeah, I like it, Mike. I like that. I mean, man, if we could add a guy like that to Bland and Diggs, my God, dude.
Bro, you just find a way to there's no way he's going to. I mean, I guess CeeDee Lamb did, but man, if Devon Witherspoon could be like slight enough where people are like, I don't know, he's only 180, maybe we won't. I just feel like if you watch the tape, he plays bigger than that. So it's I would really love it if that guy would find a way to fall to us at 26. Like, love. That'd make me so happy.
Is Devon Witherspoon your top corner in this draft?
Probably mine. I think most people would have him third. He's probably mine, and it's because I believe I can play him at any spot in the front, and I don't think you can. He's such a good run player. His one, I know we'll probably get to him at one point, but his one thing is it's weird because he's a great block shedder. He's great against the run. Like he makes stops, not like 3 or 4 yards up the field. Like he stops you at the line. Like he makes plays like that, but then he can't press. And it's weird to me. Like, why can you go up and get on a guy and get away from him and make a tackle and have no problem there? But it just shows what a technique. He's just missing technique in the press game. But I love him for the way he can tackle. I love him for the way he competes. I love him for the way he could run the routes. Like he's just so smart. He's one of the most, like, it's like he has a 2 seconds into the future and he can see it before the quarterback and the receiver do.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I just love that about him. It's man, he's excellent. I really like Witherspoon.
Yeah, I don't know too much about him, but man, I like everything you're saying. Okay, so next week's assignment, Mike, we're gonna go running back here, and I like what I've read about this guy. I've heard a lot about him, last year just while he was in college, is somebody to look out for. But Zach Evans, running back out of Ole Miss.
Oh, I think I have him marked down already. Let me see. Zach with a K too.
I had it with an H, but I could have easily misspelled it. So
no, it's okay. I don't have him on here, and he's Ole Miss. I haven't gotten to him yet, so I will have to go over. I don't really like doing running backs because I don't value them very well.
No, but
So
this was like a pick 90, so round 3 guy. I mean,
yeah. I mean, day two guys, right where I want my running back. So I would have
exactly.
definitely got to him. The only one I've done so far, I've done Sean Tucker from Syracuse and Devin a chain from Texas A&M. I've done
Yeah.
both of them, and then of course the Texas kid is obvious, but I don't want Dallas anywhere near him in the first. He's first round. I don't want that.
Did you like what you saw to Sean Tucker?
Yeah, he's not bad. I don't know if he's the guy I'd go for, but for Dallas that I want Dallas to get. But I like a chain. If I'm saying his name right, if I'm not, I apologize. But it's spelled like that. It might be like Achane.
Yeah.
I'll have to look that up and find out pronunciation wise. I don't want to be I don't want to be up here butchering the guy and everybody's like this guy. But I like him a lot. That guy's he's a speedster, but he's not just a guy that plays with speed. He's like Olympic speed. Like
Yeah.
his 200-meter was like a 2020. Like ridiculous. Like, so not only is the Olympic speed, but long speed. Not like, he's got a good initial burst. No. He's got a burst. He's got an initial first step. He's got the second gear, and he's got it to where if he took it from the 1 yard line at the 50, he's passing up your fastest guy still. It's just, you got to see how much more is he physical enough to play at our level.
Yeah, I mean, dude, might not want him as your primary, but as your secondary, you talk about a playmaker. Whew.
Bro, if he gets on if he got like on an Andy Reid or a Shanahan or something, gross.
Would not be fair at all.
No.
Another fun one, maybe not for the Cowboys, but just to watch the film and see what he could do in the league is Deuce Vaughn. Regardless of his size, man, I think he's going to be a fun player too.
That's running back?
Yeah, out of I believe it's Kansas State, I believe.
I'll look him up. I haven't gotten to him yet. I should be on more running backs because Dallas is obviously going to get a running back in this draft.
Yeah.
But just not running backs just don't do it for him. Like, yeah, pick a guy in day 3 and we'll throw him out there. If the offensive line's good, he'll be good.
The dude's like 5'6", man.
Oh, he's a little guy. He's a tiny little guy.
Yeah. Mike, I was looking at it when we got to views from the sidelines, we were like 35 minutes. I'm like, well, we're going to get under an hour, and here we are at hour 17.
Yep. That's how it works, bro. I talk too much.
Yes, sir. Mike, as always, I enjoy the discussion. Before we get you out of here, remind the people they can find you on Twitter.
At CD Piglet, guys. Letter C, letter D, Piglet, nice and easy.
Guys, I'm Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. We appreciate you joining us, and we'll see you guys next week.